The episode starts with Shinra telling the others what Dr. Giovanni said about connecting via an Adola link with someone else. And the other person who Shinra has connected with is Kanro. Based on that, things are not looking good for Kanro. But not really, if you have been paying attention to the story. So good thing that this was not dragged on for a long time and they dealt with it immediately. Dr. Giovanni was not aware that Shinra did connect with him via an Adola link, so the same could be for Kanro. And also other people have seen Adola, but they aren't working for the Evangelist, like Captain Burns and Joker, etc. While they were talking, Kanro said something very interesting that got my attention. Kanro said that the demon he fought that night when Asakusa was engulfed in flames, it looks like a mirror image of myself. And are you trying to replace me? And then Hibana did ask him, like a doppelganger? And she went on to say that there is sort of an urban legend that says there is someone who looks exactly like you somewhere in the world. It's nothing more than a ghost story, of course, but apparently if you run into a doppelganger, it's either kill or be killed. And Kanro says, it did in fact seems like he came to kill me. And Hibana says that I think I'm going to check into doppelgangers a bit more. Now, there is no way that this is just a pointless conversation, and that it will not play a role in the story. If that was the case, then the writer would not waste time on it. And the last line of that conversation was Hibana saying that I'm going to check into the doppelgangers more. If the writer has decided to go this route, then this is a big deal for the story. If doppelganger is a real thing in the story, then the number of characters has doubled. Now, I personally don't like the idea of doppelganger, or parallel universe, but that's just an opinion. I think it causes more problems to the story than there are benefits. But of course, it can be done right. And if I were to bet on who can do it right, then it is a mangaka, of course. Now, I'm very curious about how mangaka will implement this technique. Here are the downsides of doppelgangers. You want your characters to be unique and special, and making two of each undoes all of that. Now you are faced with a decision. Besides the looks, what will they have in common? Personality? If so, then what is the difference? How they will impact the story if they are the same? And in general, I think it lessens the characters and it is harder to get attached and invested. The other thing is, if one dies, there is the other who can replace the character who died in the story. Even if that doesn't happen, you as a viewer are aware of the possibility. Anyway, if I personally have to choose, I would go with a parallel universe than doppelgangers. And I think it is more likely that to be the case in this story, based on a couple of things that did happen so far. And if that is the case, then great. I think a parallel universe adds more to the story and is a lot easier to handle it, more convenient. You can use it whenever you need to, and when you don't need to explain why, since it is far away. Also, that would explain why people who are the same have not met, since they are in two different universes. It is not that the character decides to take a walk and ends up in another universe. And if the writer doesn't want to use it anymore, or this technique has run its course, then a barrier can be placed or destroyed whatever the means of traveling between universes are. While they cannot do this with doppelgangers, since they live on the same planet. So there's something to be done that makes sense. Here's why I think a parallel universe is more likely. First of all, we already know that the Evangelist is not from this world. So there is life beyond this universe. And that woman that Shinra did talk to, she said that I was once human before the Evangelist brought me to this world. So besides another universe or more, there are humans as well. And since the one who Kanro met was a demon, maybe he was brought by Evangelist too, just like that woman. I think it would make more sense for the story if there is a parallel universe than doppelgangers. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. And the last part of the episode was about Shinra, Arthur and Tamaki training. Well, when it comes to Tamaki, yes, she did train, while for Shinra and Arthur, I'm not so sure. That did look more like torture than training. Anyway, this time the writer did decide to focus more on Tamaki. It is really impressive how seamlessly the writer develops the characters. Previously, he did focus on Maki. We got to learn a lot about her and her background. It really is impressive how much the writer can achieve when it comes to the development of the characters in such a short period of time. He is really precise. He is great at getting the point across. So Tamaki as a character is very kind and aware of what's going on and the people around her, and that led her to put others first and not herself. And that's how she did end up becoming a nun, and then, because of her powers, a firefighter. And thus she did end up in a situation that she should not be in, and got in trouble and needed rescuing. But now she wants to take control and is trying to change things. Seeing what did happen in this episode and that scene where all three of them are in the same place, that's where I did realize that she's the same as Shinra and Arthur. She's dealing with the same problem. It is not their fault, but that's how people around them perceive it. But Shinra and Arthur decided to do something about that. One became a hero and the other a knight. And now Tamaki is a cat. This sounds like an interesting story. A story about a hero, a knight, and a cat. Or maybe there was a cat that did an heroic deed and as a reward they knighted the cat. Just kidding. Her powers are very interesting. I think this is the first time I see a character using the flames as armor. And combined with her speed and agility, I think she can become very powerful. I cannot wait to see more. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.